Nationally, the federal debt, we're paying 64 billion plus. We figure around 66 billion now in debt service payments to banks without even touching the principal. This is coming out of your tax dollars. The federal part of this, annual debt service payments, we figure it's around 32 billion a year and growing. Ottawa racks up 1.4 billion deficit in the first 2 months of fiscal year. And it talks about the debt service payments here. Public debt charges rose 13.3% or by 600 million. So all these deficits by these mainstream parties, you are paying for it. It's leading to all these debt service payments to these banks. That means less services for you, higher taxes for you. In 1974, Pierre Trudeau shifted the public lending right from the Bank of Canada to central banks. This is the right to print Canadian currency. This was a major turning point in our history for the worse. All the economic data shows it. And I'm not going to go into it all, but here's the money supply. When it shifted in 1974, there's been an over 800% increase in the money supply. Right here, look at that. All these central bankers printing our currency. Every time they print the currency, that is inflation. Inflation means your cost of living is going higher. This is the debt. It exploded in 1974, coincidentally. Look at it. Doesn't matter which mainstream party. And this was a boom period, and it didn't go down much, and it's only increasing here. Canada is being fiscally, monetarily mismanaged. These mainstream parties are completely off course. The country's heading down the drain in debt. Taxation, it's obvious. And we can easily blame the Liberals, but the fact is, since 1968, the Conservative Party has added more than double to the federal debt than the Liberal Party. Both are terrible, but that is a fact. This is inflation, so this shows the impact of printing all that money, all that debt. So in 1973, $100, you would have to spend $544.49 in 2019 to have the same value in 1973. Your dollar, which you earn, is worth less by a lot. Prices today are 444.49% higher than average prices throughout 1973. Again, look at the chart, everyone. Just growing and growing. It parallels that money supply chart that I just showed you. So what's the solution to this? Everything's costing more. You're getting taxed to death. The debt service payments to these banks are increasing. They control your wealth. The currency, too, is tied to other, what's called fiat currency. So if they crash like the US dollar and other dollars, then we will crash. So what's the solution? Why isn't no one else talking about it? What could be more important? NCA's solution is to create a People's Bank by reinstituting the 1934 Bank of Canada Act, including the 1938 amendment, which nationalized the bank, and we have additional amendments ourselves. Also, we will shift the public lending right from central banks back to the Bank of Canada, so only this new nationalized People's Bank will be able to print the money. So we're going to get control over the money supply, control over inflation, and we will eliminate the massive debt service payments to these banks. Another thing we will do, we will use the new bank to pay off the federal debt at 0% interest. We will print the money, pay it off, and then we will pay back the debt. We will also use the bank to fund infrastructure without the usury control of wealth by the central banking cartel. This is our way out of it. But we have to be fiscally responsible. We can't be having all these deficits of these mainstream parties. We can get out of this. And if you listen to any of these mainstream career politicians, go back to Martin, Chrétien, Mulroney, up to the present time. They all cry inflation. We can't do anything about it. But look at the inflation from this situation. They are lying to you. Canadians are getting fleeced. They have no control over their wealth. Another thing we will do, we will bring back the gold standard. Because right now the Canadian currency is tied to fiat currencies and therefore is highly vulnerable to a major global crash. Why do you think China, Russia is buying up all the gold? So they have solid commodity backing that shelters them from a global crash. NCA would reinstitute that. We would start buying up gold reserves to protect our wealth. I can't go into it any further, but look through our policies on these key issues. But it's very disturbing what's going on. Very disturbing. This country is completely fiscally, monetarily mismanaged. There's a top-down establishment elite that are ripping off the Canadian people. Thank you for